Alrighty. Huge welcome. Big welcome to you all for making it here tonight. Thank you. Thank you for spending the time to get on here tonight. I'm hoping it's going to be really valuable for you to spend this time here tonight. Nothing is more valuable than getting prepared for your baby's arrival. Honestly, it is one of life's biggest events. It's an event that you're going to remember forever, and there is loads of good reasons to be getting prepared or doing everything that you can to prepare for your positive birth. So really nice to see you here tonight. Yes, the session will be recorded. For those of you who stick with me to the end, there are going to be some special offers tonight for those of you who want to take the next step and want to move a little bit further with things, because I can't tell you, I can only tell you a tiny bit the time that we have tonight compared to all the things that I would love to share with you. Yes, it could be helpful to have a pen, paper, or your phone ready to take some photos of the screen, but everything that's most important for you to know, I am going to be following up and sending you an email with all the information that you need. So all of the major information that we cover tonight is going to come to you on an email. And please do feel free to ask questions. Best place to ask them is in the chat box, and pop your questions in there. But I am going to have a Q&A at the end, a specific Q&A in the end, if anyone's got any particular questions. And if you've got any personal questions that you want to be asking about your situation, I'm more than happy to arrange a chat with you, or I will stay behind if anyone's got any specific questions afterwards. So my intention tonight is, firstly, to get you thinking about why we often think about birth the way that we do, how you can help yourself have a positive experience in any type of situation, any type of birth situation. The purpose of tonight also is to stimulate questions for you to be able to think about things, and maybe questions for you to have chat with your partner, and to help you make informed decisions. I'm also going to hopefully inspire you a little bit along the way. There's a lot of inspirational stories out there, and most importantly, know how and what you can do to prepare. What makes the biggest difference? What factor can make the biggest difference in you preparing for your positive birth? And then towards the end, we're going to have the opportunity to enjoy a relaxation exercise and a connection with baby exercise. I also need to let you know that all of the pictures that come up on the screen are all real people who have done courses or work with me in preparing for their births. I would love to stop at each individual slide and tell you their stories. Like, for example, this is Lauren holding her baby just after Christmas. Note the Christmas tree. She has an amazing story of her home birth, of her first baby. For those of you up in Whangarei or up in the far north, that's where Lauren is. And yeah, every slide there could be a story that I tell you. I'm not going to tell you all the stories because those stories are available for you to listen to on the podcast. Love to know if you can pop a yes in the chat box. Have any of you listened to any of the stories on the Positive Births New Zealand podcast? Just curious to know how many of you here might have already been introduced to that. So I really can be quite a valuable resource. Also, another valuable resource, a book, Positive Birth in New Zealand book, which has got loads and loads of information. It's also got some stories in there, but loads of information in there about, shall we say, I'm going to touch on the surface of a whole lot of things tonight. The book goes deeper, the course goes even deeper than that. But so good to see that so many of you have indeed listened to the podcast. I'm hoping that I know, actually, I'm not even hoping, I know that it's helpful. I get messages all the time. And yeah, it's a really fun, amazing thing for me to be able to do. I love it. So for those of you who've listened to the podcast, get to see my face now. I prefer it when people just listen to my voice. I'm Helen. I am founder of the Positive Births program, creator of New Zealand's hypnobirthing program. I wrote the book Positive Birth in New Zealand. I host the Positive Births New Zealand podcast, and I have been facilitating hypnobirthing skills, teaching parents skills, tools, techniques to help them have the best possible birth since 2007, which is nearly coming up 20 years. I cannot believe that I've been doing it that long. I have qualifications as a hypnotherapist as well. I'm a certified advanced clinical hypnotherapist. I've got 3 children and I'm also a nana. So, yes, I'm qualified to have the grey hair and the wrinkles because there is 2 gorgeous little girls, my granddaughters, that I get to spend quite a bit of time with each week. A little bit more about me and my family. Yes, I've got 3 children, and I want to take you right back to my first birth experience in 2002. Now, in 2001, when I got pregnant for the first time, I knew nothing of what I'm going to share with you tonight. Absolutely nothing. And this is me holding Jess when she was born in 2002. Back in those days, the internet was just getting started. There was no social media. And so, therefore, our education and information came from a book, a couple of books, a standard antenatal course. There wasn't so much the overwhelm that I know is more present today, but I wish somebody had said to me, get informed, get educated, be curious, and ask questions, instead of handing everything over to my midwife, who thought it was a really good idea that I have an induction at 41 weeks. And I just went along with it. And as a result, there was quite a bit of intervention that played out along the way. However, I met my baby only about 6 hours after going into the hospital for an induction where I had basically all the drugs, including an epidural, because my midwife suggested it. And a few hours later, out came my baby. My midwife congratulated me on a great birth, and away we went. And something didn't sit with me quite right about that experience. I'd asked no questions. I wasn't really informed. I didn't know what my options were. I just did what I was told to do. And therefore, let's cut a long story short, shall we? Therefore, when I was pregnant with baby number 2 a few years later, I was keen to do things differently because I had realized after that experience that actually my body knew how to birth my baby. My body knew what to do. I possibly, well, I can say definitely didn't need all that intervention. I didn't need to be induced. And so, therefore, when I was introduced to the concept of hypnobirthing in 2005, a concept that no one had heard of at that point in time, I was curious and I'm like, okay, so how can this help me? My midwife had never heard it before, and I went and learned some amazing tools and techniques, and they turned out to be really super helpful. And I'm going to show you a picture now that my midwife asked to take of me holding my son in 2005. And this is me holding Jack. And Jack is now almost 21. And my midwife, my lovely midwife, totally into a normal natural birth, and never said anything to me like, oh, your baby's quite big. She always just said, you've got a beautiful, healthy baby in there. No one told me that you might not be able to get him out or anything like that. And here he was laid out on me as a rather large baby. Now, I'm actually really short. I'm 5'0", so I'm tinier than most. There's not many people who are shorter than me. And yes, I was a little bit smaller 20 years ago. And my midwife thought it was incredible to witness this experience where she said it looked like I had an epidural because I was using deep relaxation, breathing skills through that. And the hypnobirthing I thought was incredible. So that was what got me interested in sharing tools and techniques with other parents, because at that point in time, nobody had really heard of these tools and techniques. Breathwork, relaxation, mindset skills, a specific antenatal course to feel calm, confident, and empowered in this process. So that began my journey into teaching hypnobirthing. I've been teaching, as I said, 20 years, nearly 20 years, 19 and a half years to be precise. Met thousands of couples along the way. But also have a qualification in hypnotherapy. So as well as teaching pregnant couples, I also work with some of life's more difficult stuff, some of the challenges, the trauma anxiety, phobias, fears, uh, all sorts of different things. But my favorite thing to work with is working with pregnant couples, helping them on their way to have a more empowered, calm, confident experience, regardless of what plays out. That's a little bit about me. I would love to know who here is pregnant, who's having first baby or second baby, what baby, what number baby are you having, and when is your baby due? So would you mind, please, popping in the chat box, say hi, when is your baby due? And is it first baby? Is it second baby, third baby, fourth baby? I've taught families even having their fifth baby. So I'd love to know where you are at. Okay. Okay, we've got first babies due July, August, second babies, first babies, September, second baby due July, September, July, or October. These are great times to be here learning stuff now. Oh, due on Friday, Hannah. Okay, let's hope we can do a crash course and learning some positive stuff. Wishing you all the best. It might be another couple of weeks, but it could be tomorrow. Who knows? 8th of July, 27th of October, another July baby, September, October, July, August, first baby, uh, baby due October, end of October. Okay, lots of first and second babies. Amazing. Thank you for sharing that. And Abby's 39 weeks tomorrow. Oh, also, Abby, you've already done the short and sweet course. Excellent. Well, welcome here. Abby's done one of the online courses. Shanae's due December, first baby due July. Okay, so we've got all sorts of lovely, awesome. Welcome. So glad to have you guys here. Now, be really honest. What is the first thing that pops into your mind right now as you think of birth, giving birth, childbirth, having to birth your baby? What is the first word? And I don't want you to filter it. We want the good, the bad, the ugly, whatever it might be. Okay, let's see what comes up here. Okay, interesting. First three words: scared, pain. Oh gosh, okay, so there we go. Emily says empowerment, amazing. Nervous, messy marathon, pain, tears, being strong, anxiety. See, we've got a real mix of thoughts here. Excitement, exciting. It is exciting. Tired, excited. Yeah, okay. Dilation. Let's go. Okay, we've got lots of excited. We've got a range of normal, natural thoughts. Yeah, baby's head. I want to tell you a story about that. So when baby's head, this is an example of some of the crazy things that can stick in your mind for a very long time. When I was a young child at primary school, I was probably about 5 or 6. I have this funny memory of being approached. Must have been a group of us girls on the playground. I remember this kid coming up to us and going, "Ha ha ha ha! You're girls. When you grow up, you have to have babies. And when you have babies, it's like a giant watermelon coming out your bottom." I mean, what a ridiculous comment. But the weirdest thing is that memory popped up into the surface of my mind when I was pregnant with my first baby. How interesting. Now we know that the human body, well, I hope you are learning, well, you're going to start to learn how the human body, the female body, is designed to be able to birth a baby and how baby's head is designed to be able to fit through the pelvis. It's not a giant watermelon, but interesting. Interesting the thoughts that can go in from stories that people might say. Okay. I know I'm tired. Yeah. Yeah. When? Alan says, when's my baby going to come? And that's one of those things we can't predict. Is it going to be 37 weeks, 38 weeks, 39 weeks, 40 weeks, 41, 42? I've worked with some mums who have had their babies at 43 weeks. I know you don't want to hear that. Okay. So a range of different thoughts, feelings, words, emotions coming up, which is really, really normal, no matter how you're feeling. And it is really normal to have a little bit of nervousness or to have nervousness, anxiety. Just you can actually be nervous and excited about this at the same time. So when we think about, especially for the people that have come up with the words, anxious, nervous, pain, scared. Let's think about what society has been telling us about birth through our life as we're growing up and as we're looking and hearing things. I mean, what is it be telling us? And here I'm just going to show you a couple of photos or a couple of pictures. The first one, top right. Oops. Top right is a picture that I found one day when I went onto YouTube and typed in birth. This was the first image that cropped up, and I did a massive eye roll. I'm like, yeah, typical. All too often, the narrative in the media has been what this picture shows. Birth is a medical emergency at a hospital with an ambulance and I really dislike how they portray male support people as being useless and terrified, and then a mother who is clearly not calm, relaxed, or doing any breathing exercises. And I thought, yeah, this is how birth is often kind of shown to us all the time. And I would like to know, if you're happy to put it in the chat box, and please do, very briefly, what are people sharing with you right now about birth? Well, what stories have you heard? What have you seen on TV and the movies? What impression have you been given by society, wider society, about birth? Think about TV programs, think about people's stories, think about what's going on, what's coming up in your social feeds right now. Oh my goodness, jokes about the baby being too big. Yeah, sorry to hear that, Shannon. We should stand next to each other. You're probably taller than me. And guess what? Your size. Your baby is the perfect size for your body. Yeah, people, yeah, hearing about emergency C-sections. Helen, sadly, people are only sharing bad experiences with traumatic labors or things that surprise them in a negative way. Okay. Most want to talk about it only when it's bad. Yeah, good point, Jasmine. I filter and only want to hear the good. Yeah. What I often encourage pregnant mums to do at this stage of their life is be really mindful of what you're taking on board. And it might be that there's cases where you do need to put up some boundaries, some barriers, and literally say, love to hear your story, love to talk about birth, but let's do it when my baby's here. Or, if you're due in July, let's talk about it in August, because you don't need to be taking on board other people's stuff right now. I think there's a comment, the comments are coming through, and I have seen a comment come through. Someone is saying that, where is it? That they're only hearing positive stories at the moment, which amazing. How is that making you feel? And that's something to be aware of. How is it making you feel where people are telling you maybe traumatic experiences, or people are telling you positive experiences? Yeah, okay, it's Leah. I'm surrounded by positiveness at the moment, which is amazing. That is so good. The norm and what's safe is to go to hospital. Mums who have only birthed one baby within negative birth. Yeah, okay. And let's not take anything away from the mums who have had a difficult time. It's not your job to take on board their stuff right now in your pregnancy. I'm in a position where I don't take it on board, but I'm definitely support people through traumatic, difficult experiences. And I sadly think there's not enough support out there for mums to just vent a little bit or understand more about their experience. A lot of just you wait. Oh, Courtney, sorry to hear that. Hey, Courtney, just you wait. Having a baby is going to be absolutely amazing, incredible. And in a year's time, you'll wonder how on earth you lived your life without this little person. The difficulties of pregnancy, birth, and normalized society is desensitized to the hardships of mama experience. Okay, yeah, okay. Oh gosh, okay. Ropa, still waiting for someone to tell me it wasn't super painful. Ropa, go listen to the podcast. Some positive stories on the podcast. I'm not going to say it's not painful, but let's just say when we start to as I'm going to talk about tonight, when we start to look at things in a different way, we have these different experiences. And the way that we perceive the experience, I'm not going to say that you're not going to feel it. Totally not. But power, strength, feeling capable to be able to cope with this power and strength. When we talk about it like that, it might be that you're like, yeah, well, that was really intense. And that wasn't, but that was incredible. Okay. Okay. We've got quite a variety of comments here that you need to be in hospital. You only hear the bad birth stories. Okay. Yeah. There's a lot of different stories out there. I want you to start to think, how does it make me feel to hear these stories? And is it helpful or is it unhelpful? And start to surround yourself with the stuff that makes you feel good. Now, I'm not going to say we want to get an unrealistic picture of birth, but I'm going to talk about what you can be doing to get your mindset in the best possible place to be able to cope with whatever plays out and feel empowered and informed through this process. Okay. Because, and the reason why, you're hearing all these stories, and I'm asking you to think about how it makes you feel, is that one of the greatest enemies of birth is, in fact, fear. And if we're feeling fear and doubt and worry and anxiety and feeling nervous, what does that do for us in our body? How does that impact our pregnancy and birth experience? If you're spending the rest of your pregnancy concerned about having to deal with this horrible, scary, complicated, nasty birth, is that impacting on your body? Yeah. When we are feeling these negative emotions, when we're feeling fear, it's going to create stress hormones, which are flooding through our body to help us get into a space where we can run or we can fight back. And these stress hormones are not that great for our baby. And it's also not great for us going through our pregnancy feeling nervous, frightened, worried, anxious. It means that in pregnancy, we can be jumping into that fight or flight state, and also in labor and birth, the fight, flight, freeze state. Also appease, where we're just going to submit to anyone that tells us anything and maybe not question the process. Fear can affect the way that our body actually can move through labor and birth. It can affect the muscles of the uterus and can result in us not making the decisions that we wanted to make because we're feeling fearful of everything, and that's part of the appease state. We are not feeling confident to make an informed decision, and we're not thinking clearly. So fear's not helpful for us. And yes, it is very normal to have fears, doubts, worries, concerns, to feel nervous. And if you have got fears and doubts, I want you to get really specific with what they might be. Recognize them, acknowledge them. And that is the first step in the process of starting to shift or remove the emotional charge or releasing them. And that can involve, so how we can work with fear, that may involve talking to your partner, sharing what your fears, your thoughts, your doubts, your concerns might be. It might be about sharing that with your LMC. It might be about taking that a step further and doing a specific fear release process with a professional. I do this all the time. And it might be about surrounding yourself with helpful information and support along the way. So it's best not to just suppress if there's decent sized fears there that come from all sorts of different reasons. It may be what you've seen, what you've heard, what people are telling you, little comments or pieces of information, or the what ifs that are happening in your mind. Don't suppress it. Don't push it away. Don't think, oh, I'm not going to think about it. It's going to go away. We want to actually bring it up to the surface, acknowledge it, because that gives you more power to be able to move through it. So I also want you to take a moment now to think about what type of birth you would like. What would be your ideal birth? And I want you to think about that really quickly. You've probably got an idea of what your ideal birth might involve. Just put that to the side for a moment. More importantly, how do you want to feel about your birth? How do you want to feel? Because the reality is, yes, you can have an idea of what type of birth you would like to work towards, but what if there's a curveball? What if there's a deviation? What if there's something that, happens that prevents you from moving down that pathway at 40 weeks or 41 weeks or 42 weeks to have that type of birth? And you've got to change a little bit. It's way more important to think about, how do I want to feel for my birth? And thinking of the top words, the most important words for you as to how you want to feel. How do you want to feel? Is it calm? Is it confident? Is it strong? Is it powerful? Is it safe, supported, loved? Being able to trust your body, being able to follow your instincts. I'd love to know, as you think about these words, would you mind sharing in the chat box, what is the most important way for you to feel about your birth, regardless of what plays out? Yeah, you might think, okay, I'm going to do everything I can to avoid intervention. I'd like to have a water birth at the birth center or whatever it might be. Let's just say that regardless of what happens, how do you want to come away from your birth feeling empowered, calm, capable, safe, proud, calm, empowered? Yeah, fully informed, strong and in control, trusting. Great words. Relaxed. Yes. Some people are just like, I just want to feel relaxed and safe, calm, strong, supported. Yeah. Great words. Yeah. Want you to write those words down. Create an affirmation for yourself. I am safe. I feel safe. I am strong. I feel proud, or whatever it might be. Create a statement for yourself. Because then you're going to look at this and, what do I need to do? What do you need to do to prepare to feel that way? And I want you to think, what do I need to do? Oh, I like this word, victorious. Yeah. What do I need to do to prepare for it? Because do you feel prepared already and equipped to be able to respond that way? What things do you need to put in place? What is it that you need to feel proud? What is it that you need to feel strong? Is it strong physically or mentally, or is it both? What is empowered involved? Does that just mean empowered that you felt powerful throughout the process, no matter what happened? And yes, there are mums who plan a home birth who, for one reason or another, come out with a C-section and still feel empowered and proud and strong because they know they did everything they could to have the birth that they wanted. But when the things went off track, they stuck to their guns and they kept doing the things that made them feel empowered, strong, powerful. Often it's asking questions, being curious, making informed decisions. Yeah. So yeah, just having a think about that, because what if when people told you about birth, they said, oh my goodness, it was an ecstatic experience? What if you did feel super proud because you ended up achieving your greatest goal? All these three mums here, they actually all had VBACs. A VBAC is a vaginal birth after cesarean. I don't know if there's anyone else here that is preparing for a VBAC tonight. But yes, there's some amazing VBAC stories, and they all overcome a lot of challenges to feel super proud. What if you could just let go of all your fears, your doubts, what was going on in your mind, and trust that everything was working out just the way it was meant to be? Of course, there's a lot of story. Every picture is containing a story. If I was to tell you Tasha's story here, go listen to her story on the podcast, then we would be here all night. Ash, she felt calm, confident, and control. What if people talked about feeling that way in birth? It's not impossible. What if your partner was amazing? So you did feel supported and safe. What do you need to do to feel supported and safe? What if you backed yourself? You trusted yourself and your body. And all these three mums all proved the stats wrong. Janelle was told she was too old to have a VBAC because she was in her mid-40s. Amy was told that last time it didn't go so well, the obstetrician said, no, you can't have a VBAC this time, and she did. Emma was told, well, she probably wasn't actually. Emma just didn't listen to anyone that said you have to be induced before week 42, and she had her baby at 43 weeks at home in the pool. Yeah, these mums all felt empowered. What if you were told that birth is a peak bodily performance for which our bodies are superbly designed? Now, this lady knows what she's talking about. This is Dr. Sarah J. Buckley, who is the world's leading researcher on the hormones of birth. What she doesn't know isn't worth knowing. In fact, nobody has studied the hormones of birth quite like this lady, and she's a Kiwi. Okay, so she knows what she's talking about when she says birth is a peak bodily performance for which our bodies are superbly designed. What if people told you, congratulations, you're pregnant, you're going to give birth, you're going to receive an ultimate dose of hormonal ecstasy? Now, of course, nobody says that, do they? But this is what the researchers say, because it is. It's an incredible, amazing experience. What if we started looking at it a slightly different way? We don't need to get unrealistic, but we need to start looking at birth in a slightly different way. I mean, who's read Ina May Gaskin? There's no other organ quite like the uterus. This is a quote directly from this very famous midwife who has been birthing babies for 50 years. If men had such an organ, they would brag about it. Ladies, why aren't we? Yeah, you need to learn about how your body is working, how your body is designed to work. Do you know how your body works through labor? More importantly, once you learn how your body works through labor, how do you work with it? How are you going to support it? How are you going to work with what your body is designed to do? I don't know if anyone might have answered that question for you. But there are ways and means to work with the process to assist it and not resist it. Now, birth is a normal, natural, physiological process. We've all been birthing. Well, shall we say humans have been birthing since the beginning of time. And if we couldn't birth our babies, we probably wouldn't be here yet. Here now. But it doesn't mean that you should do what I did in my first birth and go, oh, she'll be right. And I have actually talked to a lot of mums. When I teach a lot of mums in their second and third pregnancies, they're like, birth's normal, natural process. It'll be how it'll unfold the way it needs to. It'll be fine. She'll be right, kind of attitude. And when we leave it to chance, if we don't know how our body works and we don't know how to work with our body and we don't have our mind in the right state and we don't have some tools and techniques to feel the way that we want to feel, safe, supported, calm, relaxed, strong, empowered, or whatever it might be, the she'll be right attitude might not be the best one. So we don't want to leave it to chance. We want to get into the best possible state so that we can move through labor and birth in the best possible way. But it's going to be up to you to seek out the information that you need. You're not usually going to find everything you need in a standard antenatal course. Standard antenatal course, great. It's going to give you loads of information. Quite possibly they're going to say, oh, it's really great to be relaxed and calm and do breathing and those types of things and get your mind into the right state, but they're not necessarily going to tell you how. Your midwife and your obstetrician are not likely going to have a lot of time to cover everything with you. They might point you in directions. And I know every LMC is slightly different. Some LMCs will spend a lot of time with their couples. Some don't so much. So it is up to you to take responsibility to find out all the information you can to feel empowered. And if knowledge is power, because everyone says, oh, knowledge is power, then knowledge about yourself, your body, your baby, how your body is working and how you can work with it. Self-empowerment. So we want to get into a state where we're feeling empowered and informed to be able to feel that the way we want to feel. And the biggest factor that's often left out of a lot of education around birth is getting your mind into the right space. Now, people will talk about mindset. People will talk about, oh, it's great to be in the best possible mindset. Now, I'm going to tell you, your birth, your positive birth starts in your mind. It absolutely starts in your mind. And imagine if it was easy to create that confident version of you, the calm version of you, the you that feels powerful, strong, or however it is that you want to feel. It starts in here. And there's a reason why I have Natasha on the screen here, because she found herself in a predicament at the end of her pregnancy, which meant that her birth had to start out the way she didn't want to. She had to have an induction due to preeclampsia, which meant her blood pressure was rising very fast. It can get dangerous. She had to get her mind into the game. And she talks about how important it was for her to get into the right mindset to flow with a situation that she didn't really want to be in. And how then once she got her head into that right space, it made such a difference. She also had tools and techniques to work with. The mind-body connection is very, very powerful. So what happens in your mind has a huge impact on the body. And I don't know, put a yes in the, if you can put a yes in the comments, who's familiar with the placebo effect? You know, when they do those studies, those trials where they test out medicines and they're like, okay, well, half the people experiencing this symptom are going to take the medicine and half the people are going to take a sugar pill. And quite often they find out that there's no difference between in the results, or sometimes quite often in a lot of studies, the sugar pill has a better result because of the belief systems, because of the power of the mind-body connection. And so many of you are aware of that. Great. Think about the mind-body connection in your everyday life. What happens in those moments where maybe you've stuffed up something at work and you've got to tell your boss, oh my goodness, I've done something. I've made a big mistake. I've done something wrong. And you start to feel nervous and you feel it in your body, that sick feeling in your body or that lump in your throat because you're like, oh my goodness, what's going to happen? I'm going to get told off or something, something bad's going to happen. You know the feeling when you think, I'm worried about something happening, or even if it's just like I'm running late for work. Or maybe it is the fear of having to do a presentation in front of 100 people and being worried about saying the right thing, the nervousness that builds up in you and the sensations you get in your body. It starts in the mind. Like the excitement of going on holiday or thinking about a special date that you're going to have with your partner or something like that. When you think about those thoughts, often different feelings in the body. We have a thought, there are sensations, feelings in the body because the body is responding to what's going on in the mind all the time. Ever walked into a room and someone said, oh my goodness, or walked into a friend's house or something, I'm so sorry, I think the cat's got fleas. And you're like, within a few minutes, feeling itchy? Or had the experience of being out to dinner with friends and the next morning they text you or send you a message and say, are you guys okay? Because we've been throwing up all night. And you think, oh my goodness, we all ate the same food. And then your stomach starts to feel dodgy. Those are all examples of the mind-body connection is working for us all of the time. So if you were spending the rest of your pregnancy feeling worried, nervous, anxious, concerned, fearful of the scary, complicated, horrible birth, what's your body doing? Your body is getting ready to defend itself against a scary, complicated, horrible, nasty process, but the vice versa is true. Imagine you spent the rest of your pregnancy relaxing into the idea that you can feel calm, safe, supported, strong, powerful, confident, whatever it might be. They have different feelings in the body, don't they? They have different feelings in the body. And just a little fact here. A little fact, it is a fact. You're carrying a baby. You're going to be looking after a baby. That baby actually doesn't really care about the amount of time or money that you're spending on trying to get the cot or the matching furniture or the cute clothes. Yes, they're cute. Or the latest buggy. Your baby is actually more affected and will benefit more by your mental state and emotional state. And if your emotional mental state is in a positive, calm, confident, or the way that you want to feel, guess what? It's not only affecting your body, it's affecting your baby too. Your baby is feeling it. So this is where I want to ask all pregnant mums now, do you have some tools and techniques to work with your nervous system, to support your nervous system through an event that will be strong and powerful and eventful? It's one of life's biggest events, birthing a baby. Do you have practical, easy tools to support yourself? Familiar tools to use in an unfamiliar situation. Now, even for those of you that are having another baby, so you've already had one baby, this is probably going to be a different birth, ideally going to be a much better birth. Every birth is an unfamiliar situation. And our brain loves familiar. So if you had a set of tools that you could easily draw on to feel calm, safe, relaxed, strong, powerful, and it was easy to do that, your brain would love it, absolutely love it. Your body's going to love it, and your baby is going to love it too. So this is where I want to talk about. When I talk about a positive birth, what am I talking about? Ideally, because a positive birth is not always a birth that plays out the way that you would like it to. That's why right earlier on, I talked about the fact that, yes, it's nice to have an idea, absolutely have an idea of what your perfect positive birth involves, but then go back to how you want to feel. Positive birth is one where you feel safe and supported, where you feel loved, respected, where you have tools and techniques to be able to work through whatever happens along the way, whatever circumstances you have to face, where you can feel calm and relaxed and free of fear, where you know what questions to ask to make empowered and informed decisions. And ideally, the ultimate positive birth is one that you look back on and you're proud of yourself because you knew that you did the best that you could with the situation, in the situation with what you had at the time, that you can look back and feel proud of yourself. How? Now, this is the stuff that's often not covered. So how do you do this? Where do you start? First up, examining your belief system. What are your beliefs about yourself, your body, birth? For some people, it's like, oh my goodness, all my life I've been told that I'm a wuss and I can't handle strong sensations or I can't handle pain. What is it like? For some people, it might be, oh gosh, I really hate needles and I can't have needles, or I can't give birth in a hospital, or I don't want to give birth anywhere else but a hospital. Now, I'm not saying that these are right or wrong, but it's examining what are your beliefs? What are the limiting beliefs that you might have? So thinking about the limiting beliefs that might be holding you back. And when you sort out what are my beliefs about birth that could be holding my back? Is it the fact that I like to be in control? I meet a lot of mums who are like, yeah, well, I want to be in control. And absolutely, there's so many things in life that we can be in control of, but we can't be in control of birth or the way it plays out. We can't control what day we go into labor. So when's it going to happen? How long is it going to last? What's it going to feel like? What position is my baby going to be in? We can't control. We can influence, but we cannot control. And so therefore, if that was, oh gosh, I need to be in control, I don't like feeling out of control, that might be a limiting belief. How can you upgrade them to align them with how you want to feel? Now, a starting place is with some affirmations, some positive affirmations. So using affirmations about how you want to feel. I can feel strong. I feel safe. I feel supported. I am powerful. I'm strong. I'm capable. How does that feel when you say that? I am powerful. I'm strong. I'm capable. Note the feeling of how it feels in your body. Using self-hypnosis. I'm going to go into that soon because that is the best way to download better programming, so that this does become easily belief. But go find positive births on YouTube, and I'm going to send you some links to some positive births, so you don't have to scroll the internet for, and look for or the good ones. I'm going to send you some, and inspiring stories, real stories to listen to. How else do you get ready for your positive birth? Find yourself and surround yourself with quality information. Now, we know there's a lot of information out there. We know that the algorithm might be delivering you things that are not helpful. That algorithm is amazing because as soon as you click on one thing, as soon as it knows you're pregnant, it's crazy, isn't it? Once it knows you're pregnant, woof, 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 all these things. So, yeah, it might not be about relying on that. Go to the best information. I am going to send you this list of quality information where you can resource, the good stuff from the independent researchers who know what they're talking about, not memes on Instagram. Learn about what your body is capable of. Learn about the hormones. Learn about what physiological birth is, how your body is designed to be able to birth. And there's your authors down here. There's your best podcasts. I am going to have that in an email for you, so that if you haven't got a pen and paper or a camera right now, I will send that to you. But there's a good source of quality information for you. A set of tools to be able to use. Yeah. Learn how to breathe, to work with your body. Relaxation. Oh my goodness. Could you imagine how it might feel to be able to almost doze off to sleep? And some mums do go off to sleep in between the sensations in your labor, to let your body completely relax so that you are ready to deal with the next wave, the next surge, the next contraction. So learning some tools that make it easy for you or easier for you to be able to move through labor and birth. Automatic anchors. Now, you know what a trigger is, right? Oh my goodness, my anxiety got triggered, or oh my goodness, panic got triggered, or whatever. We often use the triggers in conjunction with negative experiences. An automatic anchor is like a positive trigger. How nice would it be if your partner could say something or do something, and that would result in you feeling calm and relaxed? Oops, sorry. So learning how to have an automatic word or a prompt to take you into a deep state of relaxation. Mindfulness, visualizations, visualizing what your body's doing, visualizing how you want to feel. Free of fear, how to work with your body. So you're mentally and emotionally feeling good through that. And as I've mentioned, familiar tools that your brain feels comfortable with. Another way to prepare for a positive birth, get support on board. Get your partner on board. It is so, so important to have somebody there. So if it's not your partner, somebody that you love and trust, who is there with you to support you, to advocate for you, to speak up for you, to ask questions. Somebody who knows exactly how you want to feel, how you want to respond, how you want to be in your labor and birth, and someone who's there to be your rock. Often called birth support people the keepers of the cave, the rock, the best support. They can help keep you in the right mindset. They know exactly what questions to ask. And it also can be making sure that you've got the right birth support in terms of your LMC, your midwife or obstetrician. And it might be about asking them questions. And you are allowed to change midwives if you're feeling, oh my goodness, my midwife's not on the same page as me. She's talking about a different type of birth to what I want to have, or things you can change along the way. It can be really important to have a midwife on board that you feel comfortable with, that you feel safe with, that you can trust and is on the same page with you. So getting that right support, being curious. I know there's a whole lot to learn. There's heaps to learn. It can feel like this great big daunting world out there, especially first pregnancy, and everything is new. Oh my goodness. It's like, what else do I need to know? And it's not so much what do you need to know, it's what questions. What questions do you need to know? To be curious. If your midwife said to you at week 40, okay, well, at the next appointment, if you're still pregnant, we're going to do a stretch and sweep. Do you know what a stretch and sweep is? Some of you here might do, and some of you might think, oh, I think I know what it is. And some of you might, I've never heard that before. It doesn't matter whether you've heard it before or not. Ask questions. Ask questions about it. Why would we be doing that? What are the risks? What are the benefits? What are the alternatives? What would happen if we did nothing? Do I need to get a second opinion about this? Yeah, question absolutely everything so that you know what you're saying yes to or no to. Trusting. Coming back to trusting your body and your baby and listening to your intuition can be really important as well. Now, I could talk a lot about that, but what I'm going to say is basically mums have a really good gut feel for what's going on. And I'm going to say to all pregnant mums right here, don't deny that gut intuition, that gut feeling. I have so many stories of mums who said, I just knew everything would be okay. Or I just knew I needed some support with that. I just knew I needed to be in a different place. Intuition can be really, really powerful. So don't deny that as well. So does your partner and you or whoever's supporting you in your birth, do you and your partner know what questions to ask to avoid unnecessary intervention? If one of your aims is to have as little intervention as possible, do you know what questions to ask? And why would it be important to ask questions? Sometimes we need to ask some good quality questions to receive some good quality answers so that we know why we would be saying yes or no, or pause, or waiting, or finding out more. And quite often, and this goes for life, if you don't ask, you don't get. So if you just say, oh, yes, I'll turn up here at this time and have an induction, or, oh, yes, we'll just have whatever you recommend, the stretch and sweep or whatever it might be. If you don't ask more about it, you might not get more information or you might not get what you want. So you're allowed to ask. If you don't ask, you don't get. And the reason why I'm sharing this with you is that if you're not keen on a C-section, just want to let you know at Auckland Hospital a couple of years ago, and it's only going up, it's not going down, 44.6% of births were C-sections. Only 42.9% of births were spontaneous vaginal births. And if you're not keen on an induction, well, 41.7% of full-term mums had an induction there. Now, I know it's different at different places around New Zealand, but that's a snapshot. This Instagram page is a great one to follow, Maternity Services NZ, and you can find another slide. Oh, I've got another slide coming soon about that. And it's interesting to note that, only in 2022, 32% of births in New Zealand were C-section. So basically, 1 in 3 births. 2015, it was only 25.1%. And between 1965 and 1985, C-section delivery rates went up over 400%. So tell me, what happened to our bodies? Did we suddenly, as females, become unable to birth vaginally in that time? Or is it because it became more convenient to be able to do a C-section? Now, I'm going to say we are really lucky because sometimes we need intervention and we need medical support. Absolutely amazing when needed. But let's think about the fact that it's gone up so rapidly, so quickly. Is there a flaw suddenly in women's bodies, or is it just the way things are starting or things are moving in that direction? There's this Instagram page, which is great to follow, for facts and figures. Maternity Services NZ, it's a consumer council, Maternity Services Consumer Council of New Zealand. In New Zealand at the moment, 30% or more of mums have their labours induced. So that's your labour synthetically started. The most common reason is just being slightly overdue. Now, babies are considered to be full term between 37 and 42 weeks, but most women are recommended to book in for an induction between 41 and 42 weeks. Okay, so this is kind of policy, protocol, recommendations. Yeah, and it's wasn't always the case like that. In 2006, it was only 19% of mums had their labours induced. I just want you to know, in case nobody's told you this, you can say no to everything. I'm saying this to you as responsible, sane adults who are interested in the best outcome for you and your baby, but you can say no to absolutely everything because it's within your rights to say no to absolutely everything. And there are some incredible stories of mums who do start questioning, asking really good quality questions to get quality answers and finding out that actually there wasn't any reason why they should have another C-section. It was just that that's kind of how it played out. Kiki is an excellent example here. Kiki and Adam here. And she had 2 C-sections in Australia before she came to New Zealand and then decided that she was going to do things very differently. She does have quite a journey, but I just want to say best possible outcome. She had her home birth after 2 C-sections. It's actually changed her life. For her personally, it's made a huge, huge difference. She said no. She backed herself. She asked lots of questions. She made responsible decisions. She had a fantastic outcome. Same with Eliza here. Her midwife needed her to ask the questions. When she was diagnosed with gestational diabetes, Eliza was very, sorry, I've just dropped my microphone there, was very confident in questioning and finding out and in monitoring herself, making sure that her and her baby were healthy. And she had to ask her midwife what would happen. What would happen if I just turned up at the birth center to birth my baby? Because I want a water birth at the birth center. And because she had been diagnosed with gestational diabetes, the rules, the policies, protocols, procedures meant that her midwife had to recommend or tell her, you have to birth at the hospital. Eliza didn't want that. She was like, okay, so what would happen if I just turned up at the birth center and I'm 7 or 8 centimeters dilated? And the midwife, well, we can't turn you away. And so she turned up at the birth center, well established in her labor, got into the water. I want the pool. And I was like, oh, sweet, got into the pool and had her baby very shortly after. She is very pleased that she said no to the obstetrician who looked her in the eye at week 38 and said, well, do you want your baby tomorrow or Thursday? And I said, no, thanks. I'll come back if I'm still pregnant at 41 or 42 weeks. But she had her baby before that time, a normal natural birth. And it was because she was curious. She asked questions. She made informed decisions. She wanted to feel empowered and strong. She certainly does. Her story is a great story to listen to. So just a thought about the difference between a positive birth and a traumatic birth is not usually what happens. Because I can talk to 2 mums who've had exactly the same experience on paper. And one mum comes out of it feeling empowered and proud. And another mum comes out feeling traumatized. And usually the difference is not what happened, but how they feel about it, because often the way that they navigated it. And I'm just making, shall we say, a kind of assumption here. I do know in many cases, the fact was that they went into the birth, not questioning, just doing what they were told, following what was suggested. This is what we do next. This is what we do next. This is what we do now. Being told what was happening without them feeling like they made an informed and empowered decision. And so therefore asking questions and being curious can make a huge difference, an absolute difference to you, because everything in this process, in this journey, is up for you to be able to question and ask. And don't expect that you need to know everything about it, but know what questions to ask. What are the benefits? What are the risks? What are the alternatives? What other information do I need? What would happen if we said no? What would happen if we did nothing and waited? Now, I have a list of about 35 different questions to ask. I can't put them all on the screen. We do go through them as part of my courses. I always go through different scenarios, different situations, asking questions. I'm going to say to you, yeah, definitely be curious. It can make a huge, huge difference. And likewise, your birth environment. It doesn't matter where you give birth, because I know that you might have thoughts about, oh, I'd love a home birth, or I'd love a birth center birth, or I'd love a hospital birth, or whatever it might be. Sometimes the home birth has to move to a hospital, or there might be a change in plans along the way. Your birth environment matters as well. So it's what you do with the birth environment. Once again, Sarah J. Buckley, the world's leading researcher on hormones of birth. Her research states that if we feel safe, supported, private, unobserved, and undisturbed, that lines everything up beautifully to have the best possible birth experience. Safe, supported, unobserved, undisturbed. So these pictures on here, where do you think you might feel most undisturbed or unobserved? Yeah, the one on the left is a home. The one up the top is a hospital, and yes, it's a little bit OTT. I did deliberately got that picture because yeah, it's really OTT. But shall we say one light or one little turning off the lights make a big difference compared to the lady who's sitting in the bright lights down below. Unobserved, undisturbed. What environment would feel better here? Yeah. What environment would feel better here? But look, all you got to do is turn out the lights. Little things can make a big difference. And this is what you want your birth support person to know. What is it that they can do in your birth environment to help you feel safe, supported, the way that you want to feel? Turn off the lights, put some music on, have some nice smells, wear your own clothes, have some pictures around the place if you want to, have some words, something to look at, move the furniture, get a Swiss ball in. These types of things can make a big difference. So yeah. And an example of, you don't have to be on your back on a bed to be birthing a baby. This is Alex having a foot massage from her mum. It's fairy lights over there. They have turned the lights on at this point in time for some reason, but I know that the lights were off most of the time. When you start to change the way that you perceive, see, feel, think about birth, the way you birth can and will change. Now, this is a quote directly from Marie Mongan, the founder of the Hypnobirthing Institute. This picture here tells me 1,000 words because this is an incredible story. It's actually one of the first ever podcasts. It's not the first ever, but I think it's in the top 5 or 6. Sarah's Birth to Winnie that I recorded probably 5 years ago. This is a mum who was absolutely terrified of birth, absolutely terrified. She was like, book me in for a C-section. Her midwife told her to come and do my course. And within 5 weeks, this lady learned how to breathe for the first time in her life. She was a very, very anxious mum. And I can tell you this because she tells us this in the podcast. She changed everything around it. Oh my goodness, she was delivered some curveballs at the end of her pregnancy. It was like amazing. She navigated them beautifully. She had an incredible birth. I am so proud of her. It's one of those episodes where I think I say in the intro, I had tears in my eyes most of the way because I just felt so proud of her, of what she did. She changed the way that she looked at birth, and her whole birth journey changed. It's amazing. Absolutely amazing. It can for you too. So to share a little bit more about what I do and what I teach a specialized antenatal course, which gives you practical tools and techniques, both of you. That's for a pregnant mum and her partner, whoever her birth support may be, to achieve a calm, positive, empowered, and confident birth experience. And it includes skills for life. So we're not talking about skills just for birth, but stuff that you use in your pregnancy, but also postpartum as well. Because let's face it, it's a short time birthing in life compared to the many days, hours, months, years of parenting. So these skills are useful for a wide variety of times. And what you will learn here, or what you'll gain, is basically a positive mindset. That's what we've been talking about. How do you achieve a positive mindset? There's a lot of things that go into it, but basically, when you start to improve your thoughts and feelings about birth, it's going to lead to automatically improved responses, behaviors, habits, the way you see things, the way you respond to things. So I give you tools and techniques to use through your labor, specific breathing, relaxation, visualization, and tools for birth partners. So you learn how your body works and how to work with it, how to use that mind to your advantage, because your mind can be your greatest ally or your biggest enemy. Your mind will give up first. So we want to use that mind to our advantage, and the mind-body connection to your advantage. Deep relaxation, self-hypnosis, so that you can use, I'm going to talk about what hypnosis is in a minute, but you can use positive programming really, really easily, and you can learn how to relax beautifully so that you can get better sleep in your pregnancy, but also be able to use it in between your waves through your labor. Different breathing techniques are the ability for you to be able to get rid of fear, or shall we say, get rid of the emotional charge and the thoughts, the emotions, etc., that you might be carrying. The range of tools for your partner to use to support you. Learning about the benefits of connecting with baby and how baby is growing and developing mentally and emotionally in the womb. How to feel confident in your decision making, asking the questions. being curious, practical tools then to use for postpartum and mindfulness tools along the way. It's not a set of rules on how your birth needs to be, because I'm going to give you tools and techniques. You decide how you want to use it in your birth. It's not for a certain type of birth. I've talked tonight about hospital births, about C-sections, about inductions, about, I would love for you to have the type of birth that you want to have. I would love that for you. Lucy here she didn't do hypnobirthing until her third birth or her third pregnancy. And I think she says, as a lot of the mums say that do it in their third or their fourth, why didn't I just do this first time around? It would have made everything so much easier. So it's her in the picture here. Yeah, it's not for a certain type of birth. It's for any and every situation. So the hypno in hypnobirthing, I know it might sound, sometimes people say to me, oh, why is it called hypnobirthing? Well, it's called hypnobirthing because that's what was chosen many years ago. If I could change it, if I could change the whole brand of it, I would call it mindset for birth. So, but the hypno is referring to a state of self-hypnosis, which is actually a state that you are very familiar with. You have been in the state millions of times because it's exactly the same state that you are in every time you drift off to sleep. That state between wide awake and fast asleep, the daydreaming state, the state where, gosh, pregnant mums, how many times a night are you waking up to go to the bathroom and you kind of stumble out of bed and you're half asleep and half awake? You're in that state where you hear the alarm go off. You're like, oh no, I'm still in a dream. You're not quite awake. You're not quite asleep. It's the same state that we get in when we are focused on what's happening on a screen. So being right in with what's happening in a movie. And you're feeling the tension or you're feeling the tears come from the emotions that might be occurring in the movie when you're in that focused state of concentration. And it's actually the same state that a lot of us enjoy when we are driving. Highway hypnosis. When you go into autopilot and you're driving from A to B and you get to B or you get to your destination, you're like, oh gosh, I don't even remember going through that. I was just on autopilot. That is because you have used the power of repetition to download the program of driving into the deepest part of your mind so that driving becomes automatic. And so to explain it a little bit more, this is a diagram that represents your mind. The top part of the iceberg represents that rational, logical, argumentative, analytical mind, the mind that weighs things up and argues back. The mind of yours that goes, oh, but I've heard this story from my mom or my sister or my friend. And what if that happens? And they had this happen. And what if that happens to me? And someone said that my baby's too big, is growing quite large. And what if I can't get that out? And, I've always been a bit worried about having needles or those types of thoughts. Oh, look, I'll overcome that. I'll just be strong on the day or whatever. That conscious mind that's consciously arguing all the time. Now, that's only the tip of the iceberg. It's actually responsible for about 5% of your cognitive behaviors. 95% of your behaviors comes from the programs that are downloaded into the subconscious mind, your habits, your behaviors, your belief systems, the way that you see and respond to the world. Your life experiences are rolling around in your subconscious mind, and they're the ones that kind of run the show. Yeah. When we get into a state of relaxation and focused attention, we have the ability to download better programs into the subconscious. So shall we say, it's like downloading a better app, the 2026 app for birth. We get into a relaxed state. We let that conscious mind just drift off and we start focusing on how we want to feel, how you want to prepare for your birth, positive thoughts, positive statements, those types of things to create a new record that's playing, a new tape that's playing, a new program that is there, so that becomes the automatic response for your birth. Now, I'm a hypnotherapist, so I talk about this in a hypnotherapy way, but if I was a neuroscientist, I would basically say, hey, we're training the brain, the neurons that fire and wire together. We are focusing more attention on those neurons that are talking about a positive experience. Same stuff. Different language. So it doesn't matter how you talk about it. The actual fact is you're going to get the results with repetition. A little bit of work and repetition. Repetition is actually hypnosis. Anything that is repeated over and over again. Because we don't necessarily believe what is true. We believe what is repeated over and over again. So say to yourself, I am strong. I am powerful. I am capable. I'm safe, supported. And you're starting to train your brain for that. And these tools and techniques, or shall we say, this way of learning is for your partner as well to be able to support you through your birth, is going to benefit your baby, this relaxation in your pregnancy, and you're going to be able to use it for so many different life situations. Even if it's just in your pregnancy, going for blood tests or going to get blood pressure recordings, or if you don't like going to the hospital, or dealing with conflict at work, or all sorts of things. So there are a wide range of benefits of learning this stuff and getting those new programs. Like, a lot of people will say to me, I'm an anxious person. I don't know how to relax. I'm like, right, we can change that belief system. We can reprogram that subconscious part of your mind, and we can help you respond in a better way. What's your midwife going to think about this? Well, actually, overall, midwives love hypnobirthing. This is actually midwife Dion, who she was a midwife with her two babies. I've had loads of midwives do the course with me. Some comments from Rebecca Hockey. She says hypnobirthing empowers women to take control of themselves during their pregnancy and birth. And as a midwife, I truly believe in the power that the mind has. I see a reduced rate for the need for epidurals. Women and partners enter labor with a much better understanding of the actual process of birth, what the body is doing, how they can help themselves. To tap into the mind is a wonderful way to keep birth undisturbed and natural. Courtney is a midwife, and she's recently just given birth to her second baby. Now, if you don't listen to anything else, listen to what Courtney says. She says, do not underestimate the power of mental preparation. It's so important. I wish that I'd done hypnobirthing the first time. I wish that I had mentally prepared better the first time. Now, Courtney goes on in this podcast to talk about the fact she's a midwife. She knows all about birth. She knows all about the physiology. She knows how her body works. She had all of that. And in her first birth, she did no mental prep. And she saw the difference. She did a hypnobirthing course in her second pregnancy. And she's like, oh my goodness. And this is her literally, she talks about how she was resting and sleeping in between her waves. The contractions. Wave is the word that I used for contraction. In between that in her labor. And she didn't have a particularly straightforward experience both times. She birthed posterior babies, and not the easiest position when your baby is facing, or shall we say, baby's back was on her back. But she raves about it. So, yeah. Also, there are studies. There's a recent study that has just come out from a recent Australian population-based study. So if you want to hear the researchers and the stats they found, this is a summary. Hypnobirthing is associated with significant reductions in epidural use, a high likelihood of spontaneous vaginal births, increased use of water immersion, and they basically did this overall recommendation. Hypnobirthing should be made available to all pregnant couples. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah. If this resonates with you, if you think, oh, okay, I kind of like the idea of this, and I want to ask you, do you want to enjoy a positive birth for this baby? I want to make it easy for you. I want to cut through the overwhelm and give it to all the information, the tools, the techniques, the support, the assistance in one place. And so if you want a positive birth, don't leave it to chance. Put some effort in. It's not difficult effort. Put in a little bit of commitment to it to reap the rewards, because your baby is only going to have one birth and you will remember it. So I teach a variety of courses. The ultimate 12-hour course is where you're going to get the best and most information, support, accountability, lifetime access to all the tools. So it's not like you learn this stuff and walk away and can't access it again. You can access it again and again, depending on how many times you go through pregnancy. But yes, an ongoing support throughout. So if you did a course with me and your baby wasn't even due until October, November, December, then any hiccups, any curveballs, any support you need along the way, that is included. You get absolutely everything with the course. You get a workbook, the whole lot of stuff in it. You will get the Positive Birth in New Zealand book to be able to read all about the things that we cover. You will get a set of 15 different affirmation cards to be able to use. You will get a number of recordings, audio tracks to be able to listen to be able to choose what resonates with you. And what else? And of course, the tuition. I teach this online. So for anyone anywhere in New Zealand, jump online, interactive question and answer style chats, conversations, of course, and also in person for those of you that are near Auckland. If you don't have the time and you want to do something that's a little bit more succinct, then jump on to one of the online recorded courses where you can do it at your own pace, from your own place, as in how you want, and short modules. And there's 2 different types of those online recorded courses. So it is easy to access all of this information and get your partner on board at the same time and have those conversations together, get on the same page together. For those of you that are due later on in the year, you want to book in as soon as you pass 13 weeks. You can start anytime from 18 weeks. The skills, the tools, the techniques are beneficial through your pregnancy as well as labor and birth. And for those of you that might be here that are due end of June, July, it's never too late to start it either, because I've worked with a number of couples that have like suddenly found this stuff and done it last minute and still benefited as well. Obviously, the more time the better, but it is never too late to do it as well. I also offer one-on-one support. So for anyone that might be looking for something a bit more tailor-made, if you've got a specific situation that you need some one-on-one support, any previous birth trauma or anything like that to work through, absolutely, I support all of that, and of course can help with the more difficult stuff with hypnotherapy in a range of different areas. Do feel free if you want to get in touch with me to have a 15-minute free, no obligation chat about anything that you might be helpful for you. There's also the podcast, the book, and ask your midwife if she's got a copy of the book yet, because a lot of midwives have that. If you want to just get your hands on the book to start with, then see if your midwife's got a book, or you can jump online and grab your own copy of the book. Now, tonight for you, I do have some specials for you. And also just want to say, before you book a course, go and read the Google reviews. Then you can read what other people say about the course. And yeah, there's some pretty humbling statements there. But what I should say is that there's a lot of people that have really found the course very, very helpful for them. So, I have a special for tonight. Now, I want you to know, I don't discount my courses. I hardly ever have offered any kind of price off, but I am going to do that for those of you that are here tonight who might like to jump on the next Ultimate course, which starts Thursday, June the 18th. So for anyone that's due end of July through to December, 12 hours of tuition and all the resources, that is available for you, and you can take your time to book. You'd need to book by Friday. But there is only limited space in it. I don't fill them up with loads of people. It becomes quite personalized. But if that's something that you'd like to take advantage of, then you're not going to get another special again this year, because it's not something that I usually do, but I am going to do it here tonight. I'm also going to offer you, anyone who wants to buy just the book, if you buy it this week and you're here in the session tonight, then I'm going to throw in the affirmation cards for free, and that's worth $20. So the book's $39, including posting, getting $20 worth of affirmation cards. So if anyone wants to take advantage of that, that is a special for those of you who have lasted here tonight. And there's one more special. If you're thinking that I just want some breathing and relaxation, some really just the basics, another 90-minute session where I take you through different types of breathing techniques, a relaxation technique, You'll get some audio tracks to use with the real simple basics. I am running, and I only do this twice a year, a Breathe and Relax Masterclass, which includes all your recordings and the tuition. And I only take bookings via email. So my email is down below if anyone wants to take advantage of that. I will be putting the details in the email that I send to you after this session as well. And wait, there's more. Wait, there's one more thing. I'm going to do a draw tonight. I'm so stoked with how many people have registered for this event tonight, which is pretty cool. We've had almost 100 people register for this event. I haven't had a chance to see how many have jumped on or how many are still here. But I am going to give away an online course tonight. But it does come with a little condition. If you're on Instagram, please go and follow me at positive_births_NZ. If you follow me and DM me yes, you will go in the draw to win an online course to be able to do. I'm also going to do a draw for somebody to win the Positive Births in New Zealand book. Okay, so find me on Instagram, positive_births_NZ, and you could go in the draw to win that. I'll announce the winner tomorrow for that. Okay, we're just about ready to wrap up, and I'm going to take you on a little journey of a relaxation and connection exercise with baby. But before we go, because after that, you're going to be nice and relaxed, and we'll finish our session after that. I just want to say, this is an incredible experience that you're moving through to birth your baby. You do have everything you need within you to be able to do this, which means you've got power, the strength, the courage, the knowledge, the innate knowing, the innate wisdom. You've got it all there. But sometimes we need some help to unlock it. Sometimes you need to do some prep to unlock it. Sometimes you need to do some programming to benefit from that. So I'm going to say is that don't just do what I did in my first pregnancy. Oh, she'll be right. We'll just see what happens. You won't regret doing a little positive preparation to help yourself. If anyone's got any questions, please feel free to pop them in the chat box. And or if there's something personal that you'd like to ask, my email address is below. Do feel free to ask any questions about anything. And I'm just going to give you a moment now for those of you that might be still finding me on Instagram and or see if there's any questions come through. Just a minute or two before we get started with a relaxation and breathwork exercise. And while we do that, I'm going to put some music on in the background. I'm wondering, can you hear? Can anyone give me a thumbs up? Can you hear music and my voice? My voice is still coming through. Awesome. Excellent. Okay. There doesn't seem to be any questions at this stage. So, time to get nice and relaxed. So make yourselves comfortable. Yes, you're very welcome to turn your cameras off. Thank you for those of you who've had it on. And you might like to actually take a moment to turn any bright lights off. Turn those lights off in your relaxation space. You don't need bright lights for relaxing. You don't need bright lights for birth. And when you're nice and comfortable, you might like to place your hands on your belly, on your stomach, around baby, and let your eyelids softly close. With your eyelids softly closed, just becoming aware of your breathing, the rhythm of your breath. awareness of any movement in your stomach and your belly. And yes, you may start to feel baby move through this exercise. Just noticing each in-breath, each out-breath, and notice where you feel it in your body. Is it your chest, your stomach, or both? Notice all the noises that you can hear around you from both inside and outside of the room. And then I want you to take a moment to place your awareness on your feet. As you think about your feet, notice the texture, the fabric of whatever your feet are touching. And as you think about your feet, notice if one foot feels warmer than the other. You're just noticing. And then bring your attention up to your hands. Noticing the position of your hands, noticing the texture of the material that your hands are touching. And as you think about your hands, notice if one hand is heavier than the other. You're just noticing. And then return your attention, your awareness back to your breath and your breathing, breathing in and out through your nose if you can. And we're going to take 3 nice breaths now. We're going to inhale to the count of 4 and exhale to the count of 6. So just getting ready and breathing in, 2, 3, 4, and out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In, 2, 3, 4, and out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And once more, breathing in, 2, 3, 4, and out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And just allow your breath now to return to a normal, natural breathing pace. Breathing comfortably. Breathing easy. And shifting all of your attention now to your eyelids and all those tiny, tiny muscles in and around your eyes. Just imagine all those tiny muscles going completely loose and limp, soft and relaxed. And as those eyelids become heavier and heavier, your cheeks become softer and more relaxed as you just let go of any expression that's resting on your face. And then focusing on your mouth and your jaw and allowing that lower jaw to softly droop down. That's right. Whole face, mouth, jaw, soft, relaxed. And imagine that sense of relaxation drifting down through your neck, down into your shoulders, as you just let your shoulders now sink into the frame of your body. That's right, letting any tension float away. As you think about that sense of relaxation, maybe like a mist or a liquid, gently drifting, floating, melting down through the tops of your arms, flowing over your elbows, moving through your lower arms, into your wrists, your hands, your fingers, so that your arms now, just like your eyelids, loose, limp, soft, relaxed. And with every breath now, you breathe a sense of softness through your chest, your heart space. Imagine that softness drifting, floating melting over your stomach, around your baby's home, and through to baby. And with your hands still on your belly, around your baby's home, it's time to connect in with your baby. And so with every breath now, just getting the idea of directing all of your love down and into your baby. Just focus on the idea of this growing baby inside their little home in here. Safe, loved, this beautiful baby. And I want you to take a moment now to appreciate all that you have already achieved. The miraculous process of conception, how life was formed and is still developing and growing. Your body is remarkable. The creation of life is incredible. It's time for you to celebrate the stage of pregnancy you're at, whether it's early or whether it's later on. Each and every day, this is a miracle occurring right inside of you. And send a beautiful wave of love to your baby. And you might like to send a message to your baby silently. Hey baby, we know you're in there. You're wanted. You're loved. We're looking forward to meeting you. And your baby has chosen you as their parents. Your baby trusts you. Your baby knows that you are doing the best job in every way you can to facilitate their development and their arrival into the world. Growing and birthing a baby is truly one of the greatest transformational experiences in life. And your body has an innate wisdom. It knows how to grow a baby. It knows how to birth a baby. And your baby too. They know what to do. It's time for you to trust this process, to trust yourself. And with your hands still on your belly, it's time to connect into that wise, knowing part of you. The part of you that's instinctive. The part of you that's intuitive. And that wisest part of you has guided you here tonight to receive this information, to help you on your journey. And this pregnancy and birth is an experience that both you and your baby journey through together. And together the two of you can work harmoniously, symbiotically, fully connected. This is your baby's birth as well as yours. You both share this experience. And as you are in this deeply connected state right now, you might like to take a moment to thank your baby for choosing you, to thank your baby for coming to you. And if there's any other special messages you wish to pass to baby, just silently send these now. You are safe. Your baby is safe. You are secure. You are well supported. You trust your body's innate wisdom to do what it was designed to do. And taking a moment now to bring your awareness back into your breath. Notice each in-breath. Notice each out-breath. Take a nice deep breath in through your nose and a deep sigh out. And once again, a nice deep breath in through your nose and a sigh out. And once more, with this last deep breath in and out, feeling a beautiful sense of energy begin to flow through your entire body, knowing that you can connect with your baby anytime you choose. And as you come back into your full awareness, noticing the room around you, gently opening your eyes when you're ready. And welcome back. And I hope you found that useful tonight. I hope there was something that you may have learnt or gained from our time together. Once again, thank you for being here. I'm sending you so many positive birthing wishes. I'm also hoping that I might meet some of you along the way. If anyone does have any questions, do feel free to ask. You also know where to find me. Send me an email. You're welcome.